What's going on, Jeromes? We are back in the friendly confines, and it's just, I'm still not sure if that actually happened. It was just absolute insanity, just mind-numbingly bad first half, and then just the most amazing, greatest comeback in NFL history. And on the plane, on the flight back, actually rewatched the entire game, and we got a couple of notes. We got a couple of takeaways, because in the moment, I feel like things were moving so fast that you didn't just really pick up on the nuances. So wanted to go through it with the rewatch, and here's a couple of things that we found out. Number one, the first half was as bad as you remember. I mean, absolutely was. So you had the block punt for a touchdown. Well, first off, a long kick return. Start things off. It was just a sign of bad things to come. You had Afadi, our guy, blocking that punt and then them scooping it up for a touchdown. You had the Dalvin fumble at the 30. You had the Kirk Cousins pick 6, which is just the chef's kiss. And the Vikings offense was completely inert. Obviously no points, but also they're 0-6 combined on 3rd and 4th down. They just cannot get anything going at all, and it was just embarrassing. And you would think that, hey, this could have been a game where the Vikings down 33-0 at halftime could have rolled over and died, and this could have been a 50-3 type game. This could have been Dallas Redux, but against a worse team. So yeah, it's rough. Number 2, the Colts didn't go for the kill. So like a lot of the ways that the Vikings have made comebacks is that some of it is on the actions of the other team, and the Colts. I mean, I almost feel like the Colts were just surprised that it was that easy. And the Colts, the last drive before the half, it should have been 37-0 before Chase McLaughlin tacked on a field goal to make it 33-0. But they had 1st and 10 from the 16 with 1:48 to go. They had a timeout and they settled for a field goal. I mean, no lead is safe in the National Football League, especially with the cardiac Vikings on the call. So I mean, also the Colts in the second half, it almost looked like they were puckering up a little bit, like they were worried about not making a mistake on offense, and they just really got conservative, and it looked like they're almost just trying to run out the clock. It didn't quite work out. Next up, number 3. The officials need to be investigated. And I'm not saying that there was maliciousness here, but in terms of just absolute idiocy, just absolute being so atrocious at your job that you're impacting the outcome of the game, or you easily could have. I mean, hell, the Vikings should have won this game by 2 touchdowns. They should have. They should have never gone into overtime. And if things didn't go the Vikings' way, like say the Colts win in overtime, I mean, this would be a stain on NFL officiating for years. The 2 Shandon fumble 6s. The first one, Pittman, progress, okay. Early whistle, yes, especially the way that they were calling it all day. All of a sudden, that one is step forward progress? It's ridiculous. The second one was just complete idiocy. Just complete stupidity, where the ball is clearly out. They blow it dead when you can clearly see the ball is out and on the ground, and it's just so stupid. Also, one that a lot of people missed. So when Ryan Wright boomed that punt at the end of regulation, and Jalen Speedy got on it at the half-yard line, it would have set up a really interesting situation for the Colts, because the Vikings could have had a game-winning walk-off safety, because they wouldn't have had enough room to just take a knee. They would have had to run a play and have gotten out of the end zone. But it didn't happen because they spotted the ball at the 2. Matt Ryan obviously had enough room to kneel down, and it's just another one of the small things that could have added up to a big thing. Next up, number 4. KJ sparked the comeback. As much love as Kirk Cousins and Jefferson and Thielen and everyone else gets for this comeback, I mean, KJ was that guy. I mean, 17 was the dude out there throwing his body around, making some plays in the first half, the second half. Because remember, things didn't start out great in the second half, but KJ really stepped up. He got the scoring going, got the first touchdown, also 10 catches for $157, and he was the straw that stirred the drink. And I think that he made a very compelling case that after Adam Thielen, gets up there in age a little bit more, that KJ should and could be wide receiver 2, JJ and KJ, dynamic duo. Number 5, the defense needs to blitz more. Now, We've been saying that all damn year long. Hey, if you can't get home before, send some more. And I don't know if it's part of the game plan necessarily, but they greatly amped up their aggression in the second half. The defense blitzed Matt Ryan on 40.5% of his dropbacks, which is obviously a season high for that defense. And they were getting after it. They absolutely were. So I love the more aggressive stance. They were taking some chances, especially they had to in the second half. Otherwise, this thing was, well, it was a runaway train and a complete poop show, but the Vikings were able to get a couple stops, and I mean the defense. Item number 6, amazing final 40 minutes from the defense. So second half and also basically full overtime. 3 points. 3 points allowed, and in the first half, you could say, okay, a lot of bad circumstances. 14 points were on the board. Were not the defense's fault. Is what it is, and also since the offense was so inert, they were always being put on short fields, and it's whatever. But 3 points, 128 total offensive yards for the Colts in the final 40 minutes. They forced 6 punts. 6 punts, had a turnover. Should have been multiple turnovers, by the way. Whatever. Should have had multiple defensive scores. Yes. Also got that turnover on downs. Which, all right. So we're gonna put this one here. 4th and 1. That 4th and 1 stop was the ball game, where I gotten kind of worried where Zach Moss ran to within a yard of the marker on 3rd down, and Matt Ryan with that quarterback sneak. If he gets it, that's game over, because it was 2:31 to go. They're at the Vikings 36. The Vikings had no timeouts left, so they could just run out the clock, or essentially run out the clock at that spot. But the defense really stepped up, man. Like, big props to Harrison Phillips, Diesel Dalvin, Daniil, Za'Darius. I mean, they just absolutely got after it. Next one. Speaking of the defense, Duke Shelley needs to be a Viking long-term. So Duke actually started in place of Cameron Tiny Dantzler opposite of Patrick Peterson. He played 100% of the snaps. Now, it was a spot where Dantzler, I don't think it was an ankle thing, but he was struck with an illness throughout practice all the week. So he was dressed for the game, maybe as like an emergency situation, and the Vikings almost had that. A number of guys go down with cramps. But Duke Shelley, man, he was the Vikings' highest graded defender in PFF, a 42.4 quarterback rating when thrown at. He only gave up 2 catches for 15 yards on 6 targets. Also had 2 passes broken up and some really good tackles as well. I mean, Duke Shelley, he's got that dog in him. Like, he's a little bit like, just given his height. I mean, is he a little Antoine Winfield Jr. light? Ooh, that's hot, man. It's hot. Next up, number 9. You can win a Super Bowl with this version of Kirk Cousins. And I will say that the last 2 games have been Kirk Cousins' finest hour, because he's been getting shellacked. He got sacked 7 freaking times by the Colts. But he absolutely got it done. 34 of 54, 460 through the air, 4 touchdowns. Did have 2 picks, whatever. Second one was on him. That was on Rager. But the way that Kirk Cousins just had ice water in his veins and just kept making plays and kept making throws. He was getting hit. He was standing in the pocket. He was dropping some dimes. He was moving this offense up and down the field. And it was awesome. It was absolutely awesome, man. And the defense can be average. This offense is going to be fine. And Kirk Cousins right now playing out of his gourd. And you can win a Super Bowl with this version of Kirk Cousins. Lastly, number 10. It was a group effort offensively. So obviously, KJ, like we said, 10 for $157 and a touchdown. JJ, 12 for 123 and a score, being shadowed by Stephon Gilmore most of the day. And also, I mean, Dalvin taking that screen to the house also was really important. A, he got in. B, he got in before the 2-minute warning. That was extremely key. And 190 total yards from scrimmage. CJ Ham had himself a rushing touchdown. I love it. Adam Thielen, even though he didn't get a target for like the first 2/3 of the game, 3 catches for 41, as well as the touchdown that put them within 2. Hawkinson going 3 for 33, caught the 2-point conversion that tied up the game. Also had a big time 14-yarder down the middle of the field to help set up the game-winning field goal. It was just an amazing day. And should the Vikings have been in that spot against a 4-8 team, 4-8-1 team in your building where you get down by 33? Probably not. But the fact that the Vikings, like, that didn't enter their mind. We're just like, hey, we're just going to fight. We're going to make one play. We're going to have one drive. We're going to score on this one. We're going to get a stop. We're going to get the ball back and rinse and repeat and rinse and repeat. And they clawed their way back in. And you could tell, like, the Colts puckered up a little bit, and the Vikings being in the spot many times before, whether it's the Buffalo game, whether it's the first Lions game, whether it's whatever, they were comfortable with it. They were. And obviously in the playoffs, you don't want to get down 33-0 because, I mean, the Eagles and the Cowboys would probably be able to close that out. But in a tight game late, if you need a big time play, the Vikings, it just seems like they're going to make it, right? And they don't pucker when the lights get bright and the game is on the line. They've had a ton of practice with it this year, and it just seems like they got a little bit of magic on their side, man. It absolutely does. But your thoughts are thoughts. We got 10 takeaways rewatching Vikings-Colts. Let us know your thoughts, our thoughts in the comment section below. Subscribe for daily Vikings takes. Want to support the work? Put a little something in the Venmo. But till next time, Skol, production value.